जय भारत। वेलकम टू डेफ टॉक्स क्लिप्स बाय आदि अचिंत। जैसे ही आपने मेरे बड़े चैनल जो डेफ टॉक्स बाय आदि है उसको आपने जिस तरह से सपोर्ट करा, उसी तरह से ये हमारे क्लिप्स के चैनल को, जहां पर आपको छोटे छोटे अपडेट्स, छोटे छोटे शॉर्ट्स और छोटी छोटी कहानियां मिलेंगी, इसी को भी सपोर्ट जरूर कीजिएगा। लाइक का बटन जरूर दबाइए, सब्सक्राइब तो ऑब्वियसली करिए, बेल आइकॉन दबाना बिल्कुल मत भूलिएगा। एंड हाँ जी, प्लीज अपने दोस्तों के साथ, फैमिलीज के साथ ये वीडियोस जरूर शेयर करिएगा। एंजॉय करिए ये क्लिप को। जय हिंद।
Then I think we could see India's economy genuinely take off because he's put in the work in the past 10 years and now he can really. People keep talking about big bank reforms and all that, but significant changes will happen, and you will see more growth and more rapid growth. And you could see India becoming a much more assertive nation when it comes to the Indian Ocean region. We are already demonstrating our abilities, capabilities in the Gulf of Aden, Red Sea region. I mean, the mouth of the Red Sea, the Gulf of Aden, anti-piracy operations, which also, I mean, the same operations can also be used for offensive purposes. So we are demonstrating what capabilities we have navally, and we have been testing all kinds of weapon systems, new weapon systems, a missile torpedo, cruise missile torpedo combination. That's nice. I mean, I like it, and various other things. We recently tested the MIRV technology, which
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure we had it for a long time. We had it for a long time. I am sure
For
of it.
decade, yeah.
But we made the statement that we have it, and we proved that. So all that is happening. So India's military might, which is growing, is actually the real concern, I think. And India's power projection abilities, capabilities in the Indian Ocean region, that's another factor of concern for the US. Because from their perspective, the only nation that should have the ability to project power is the US. They have more than 800 military bases, extraterritorial military bases across the world, and they don't want India to kind of become an Indian Ocean power. So yeah, we're gonna see. I think we're gonna see more of this sort of thing, this mixed kind of behavior. India does have all of these factors going in its favor, which means that the US overall needs India on its side, and that's the game we can play in diplomacy. But we're gonna see more tensions overall, I would say.
The interesting, and I keep saying this, there's a, as I was saying, that there's a divide there seems to be, left seems to be kind of off its rocker a little bit, because I look at it like that, the deep state has everything, the military industrial complex, the financial structure, the aristocracy, and the deep dark, you know unmentionables as well. uh, uh, I kind of find that the money part and the defense part have kind of said, यार ये कर क्या रहे हो बेवकूफों, ये लेफ्टिज्म से पैसे पूसे नहीं बनते यार, stop this nonsense, because you see the way the pushback is starting up. Now here is where an interesting times are in front of us. You see the way that the protests are being handled in the US. Hard stick.
Oh yeah.
They're throwing out people even now, and these are Democrats throwing out people out. What is that girl's name? Riddhi Patel.
Oh,
Look at
she's
the
in jail,
video.
right?
Oh my God.
Hmm.
Uh, Out. The Brits are planning to do their Rwanda plan, right?
Mhm.
The Dutch are starting to hit, and when I say hit, they don't care, man, woman, child. They break heads. There are
Mhm.
enough videos online. This. So there's a pushback, physical pushback, as per se. The Defense Department is very interesting. Lloyd Austin, I think, mentions India more time than he mentions his wife's name in a week.
Okay.
You see his statements in the past month, and as a matter of fact,
Mhm.
today they've put out a joint working committee on India-US space cooperation.
I see.
Right, so you
Okay.
can see that, fair enough, there's a leftist part of the State Department who wants to do all this, but the pragmatics in these guys are also looking at very, very practical solutions to a whole lot of things which are happening. The engines are going forward. As a matter of fact, the first batch is supposed to be the first ingredients of the not to be transferred stuff have already reached here. Out of the
Okay.
20% that metal is come
Mhm.
here, so there's a whole lot. The drones are on time, by the way, and they might be given before time.
Okay.
They've now literally come out and said you can put your weapon systems on our F-18s, F-15s, F-16s, whatever you buy, no problem. Put your weapon systems, it's fine. We'll give you the code keys.
Okay.
What's that all about?
Yeah, so they need India on their side. I mean, there could be a confrontation with China. I mean, I don't know how likely that is, because considering the fact that China and the US are kind of joined at the hip economically.
Yeah.
You fight China, you're gonna sink your own
Cripple
economy. But
yourself.
yeah, yeah, exactly. But they do want India on their side, considering everything, considering the Russia angle. I mean, I'll tell you, I get the feeling the US is more worried about the rise of Russia than about China,
China.
because they have yeah, Russia is the real threat. And if you look at the overall, if you look at the building blocks of real hard power,
Yeah.
not soft power, all that, just hard
Russia
power,
has it.
Russia swamps away China. Russia is like 4 times, 5 times more powerful than China
Yeah.
overall, if you put everything together. China is nothing. Russia can squash China tomorrow if it wishes to. That's how powerful Russia is militarily, if it goes on an all out
True.
assault.
True.
So the Americans are worried about Russia. Russia is an autarky. Everything you need is available on Russian soil. Every mineral, every metal, oil, gas, petroleum, whatever you want is available in Russia. The Russians don't need to import anything whatsoever. So they are completely invulnerable from from the sanctions perspective. And they have China as a trading partner, and they also trade with the various nations like India. India acts as a pressure release valve for Russia when it comes to the Chinese pressure. So the Americans, I think, are really, they will not talk about this, they will not say it, but they are worried about Russia way more than China. And from that perspective, India becomes an attractive, partner, so to say, because they want to. Their stated objective is to wean India away from Russia, because we import so much. We have such an old relationship with Russia. We import so much defense equipment from Russia. We have so many joint ventures like Brahmos and whatnot with the Russians.
Now the
Uh,
engines.
the engines,
Uh,
right?
yeah. Now the latest. What are they called? The Super Sukhoi engines.
Okay, are we
So it's
getting those from Russia?
yeah. We've just signed a deal for complete 100% TOT for the
Okay,
Super Sukhoi engines, which they are putting in their Su-57s right now.
well, if that actually goes forward, that will be a game
It's
changer if that
done.
happens.
It's done. 5,250 crores. Money has already been. That's how the Russians bought this whole military equipment kits from us. So
Okay,
it was.
so are they transferring the technology for the single blade, single crystal blades
So
and all that?
you will have that from the Russians
Hmm.
and you will have that from the French.
So we are getting
That's.
two TOTs.
Mm.
Okay, well, that kind of that's leverage when it comes to the US. So okay, so the point is they are really worried about our relationship with Russia. They want to wean India off Russia, and obviously you have to offer inducements for that to happen.
Yeah.
So one of the easy ways to do that is space cooperation. We are having the Artemis program. We are landing on the moon in a few years. Why don't you guys come along? We'll you can send one of your guys or girls along, and we'll take them
My God.
across.
I mean, you're perceptive. Sorry to interrupt you. You're perceptive. NASA has said we will take one of your chaps to the space station today morning.
Okay, okay, okay. I wasn't aware of that. Okay,
Freak.
there you have. So
There you go. This is fun. This is getting
I
fun
wasn't
now.
aware.
Keep
Yeah.
talking. I think
So
more stuff will come out.
so space cooperation is a low hanging fruit. There's no real geostrategic importance to that right now, technology and all that, the military abilities wise. So they can offer those lollipops, those sops to India. We'll take one of your guys or gals along to the moon. But I think India should, I would say, accept this. India should go ahead and accept the offer from the US, from NASA. But India should also develop its own space capabilities. We have human space flight program coming up. We have the new rocket, the augmented rocket. We have tested the crew capsule and all that. We have to go ahead with that by 26 or whenever it is, with a reasonable time frame. And we have to have a space station, however small or rudimentary it is,
Whatever it
by the
is.
2030s. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we need to start taking these steps. And of course, if the Americans are offering some kind of cooperation, we should go ahead with that as well. If the French are offering something, we should take that as well. If the Russians are offering something, we should take that as well. We should be friends with everybody, and that's the path we have to follow. So the US, yeah, uh, I think these are the real reason why America is willing to offer so many inducements to India. Like you were saying, you take the F-18s and put whatever weapon systems you want in it. We'll give you the codes and all that. That obviously is an effort to wean India away from the Russian arms market, and to take India out of the Russian
Out.
embrace from their perspective. That's what they want. And it will be, well, I don't think it's a good idea. We should embrace everybody, and we should not do away with the great relationship we have historically had with
Yeah.
Russia. Obviously, we have had some trying times in between. In the 1990s, we know what happened. Russia US started disintegrated, and we were like, the Indian politicians were daddyless. Big daddy had disappeared. There was no daddy left. So where do we go? And that's how India got compromised in a different direction in the 1990s. But then after the coming to power of Mr. Putin, things have kind of been back on track to some extent. In the 2015s, 2020s, around that time, the Russians were flirting with the Pakistanis as well. There is still a little bit of flirting with Pakistan to some extent. So I mean, everybody is gonna pursue their own interests.
Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? Why
So
not?
so that's all right. That's all right. So I think that's the reason why the Americans are offering so many of these inducements to India, because they are actually worried about Russia, not China. They'll make a lot of hue and cry about China, blah blah blah. But the real danger from the US is the hard edge that Russia possesses. Russia has a gigantic nuclear weapons arsenal, and they have the means to deliver those weapons. They even have technologies the Americans don't have, like a nuclear ramjet powered cruise missile that can fly for months, loiter for months, and much more, which was announced in 2019, I believe, or 2018 by Mr. Putin.
18.
So the 18, right? It was 18. So yeah, the Americans are worried about Russia, and that's the real thing that they don't speak.
जय हिंद। जाने से पहले मैं 1 मिनट के लिए आपको रोक लूं, तो प्लीज ये चैनल को लाइक जरूर करिएगा, सब्सक्राइब करिएगा, और हाँ, हमारे जो मेन चैनल को जरूर जरूर अपनी फॉलोशिप दीजिए, ताकि हम आपको अच्छे अच्छे पॉडकास्ट, इंपॉर्टेंट सब्जेक्ट्स एंड जियोपॉलिटिकल अपडेट से आपके सामने प्रेजेंट करते रहें इसी तरह से। थैंक यू सो मच। जय हिंद, जय भारत।